Hello, and welcome to Daily English Flow. We're really happy you're here. I'm Amelia.
And I'm James. On this channel, we practice real, everyday English with natural conversations.
If you enjoy learning this way, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. All right, let's get started.
So, Amelia, today I woke up and my brain said, "Stay in bed, you are not a morning person." It sounded very confident, like a bossy coach.
My brain does that too, but you still came here, so you didn't listen to that voice. Did something happen that made you think about mindset today?
Yes, actually. I tried to cook a new recipe last night and it was a small disaster. The kitchen looked like a science experiment and I felt like I failed.
Oh no. What did you try to cook and what went wrong? Please tell me it wasn't something super simple like boiled eggs because that would hurt my feelings.
It was homemade bread. I thought, how hard can it be? Then the dough acted like sticky glue and the bread came out flat like a sad pancake.
That sounds frustrating, but also kind of funny. Did you start saying to yourself, I'm terrible at this? Or did you try a more helpful thought?
At first, I thought, James, you are not a bread person. Then I remembered our topic, growth mindset. I told myself, I'm not good at bread yet.
Yes, that little word yet is like a magic key. It keeps the door open instead of slamming it shut. Also, not a bread person sounds dramatic.
I know, right? I was acting like bread was my enemy. But then I laughed and thought, okay, this is just practice. I even watched a short video to learn.
That's a great example already. Growth mindset means you believe you can improve with effort, learning, and time. Fixed mindset says, this is who I am forever.
Exactly. And I noticed fixed mindset shows up when I feel embarrassed. Like if someone sees my failure, I want to hide, not try again. It's such a human feeling.
Totally. Mistakes can feel personal, like they're about your value, not your skills. But skills are built step by step, and mistakes are part of the building.
So true. And it's not just cooking. I feel it with English sometimes. If I forget a word, I get annoyed, and my brain says, see, you'll never speak well.
I hear that a lot from learners. But the truth is, forgetting is normal and speaking is a skill. You get better by using the language, not by waiting to feel perfect.
I like that. Waiting for perfect is a trap. I used to think fluent people never make mistakes, but then I met fluent friends and they still make mistakes all the time.
Yes, they just don't panic about it. They correct themselves, laugh, and keep going. That calm attitude is also a kind of growth mindset because they trust the process.
Speaking of calm, how do you stay patient when progress feels slow? Sometimes I practice for a week and I think nothing changed and I start feeling stuck.
I try to look at bigger time, like 1 month or 6 months. Daily progress is tiny, but it adds up. And I celebrate effort, like I practiced, not only results.
That's smart. With my bread disaster, I could say the bread was bad, but I can also say I tried something new, I learned two mistakes, and I improved.
Exactly. So, what did you learn from the bread situation? Give us the lessons, Chef James, and please don't say never touch flour again because that's a fixed mindset.
Okay. Lesson one, I didn't measure correctly because I was guessing. Lesson two, I didn't wait long enough for the dough to rise because I was impatient.
Those are very clear lessons, and that's powerful. When you can name the problem, you can change it. Fixed mindset keeps things vague, like, I'm just bad, and that's useless.
Yes, and I also noticed my self talk matters. When I said I'm hopeless, I wanted to quit. When I said I'm a beginner, it felt lighter, like it's allowed to be messy.
I love that word beginner. It's honest and kind. Also, beginners are brave because they choose discomfort. It takes courage to be bad at something in the beginning.
True. And being a beginner hurts the ego a little, but it also makes life more fun. If I only do things I'm already good at, I'm basically repeating the same year.
Wow, that's such a good point. Growth mindset gives you a bigger life because you try more things. It's not only about success, it's about curiosity and resilience too.
Resilience is that ability to bounce back, right? Like you fall, you feel upset, then you stand up again and try a new way. I want more of that in my daily life.
Same here. And it can start small, like your bread. Next time, you can adjust one thing and see what happens. It becomes a friendly experiment, not a scary test.
I'm already planning round two. I even told my friend if it fails again, we'll call it bread's shaped art. He laughed, and suddenly I felt less pressure and more energy.
I love that attitude so much because humor really helps. When you can laugh at mistakes, they lose power over you and they become stories instead of scars.
Exactly, and stories are much easier to carry than shame. I think shame is one of the biggest enemies of a growth mindset because it makes you silent and scared.
Yes, shame whispers, hide this, don't talk about it. But growth mindset says, share it, learn from it. Even talking about mistakes out loud already changes how they feel.
That's true. When I told my friend about the bread, I expected judgment, but he just said, "Oh, my first bread was terrible too." Suddenly, I wasn't alone anymore.
That moment is so important. We often think we're the only ones feeling, but everyone struggles. We just don't see it on social media or in short success stories.
Social media really shows only the shiny part. You see perfect results, not the 10 ugly tries before. That can make fixed mindsets stronger if you're not careful.
Definitely. That's why I think it's healthy to remind yourself that progress is usually boring and slow. Real growth often looks messy, confusing, and very unglamorous.
Yes, and sometimes it even looks like going backwards. Have you ever felt that? Like you practice and suddenly you feel worse than before, not better.
Oh, yes, many times. That usually means your awareness is growing. You start noticing mistakes you didn't notice before. And that can feel like failure, but it's actually learning.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. So feeling worse can mean you're actually improving your understanding, just not your performance yet. That's kind of comforting.
Exactly. Understanding often comes before skill. It's like seeing the map before you know how to drive the road. It's uncomfortable, but very necessary for growth.
That makes me think about language learning again. When I first started, I felt confident because I didn't know what I didn't know. Then later, I felt worse.
That's a classic experience. At first, everything feels simple. Then you realize how big the language is, and it feels overwhelming. But that stage doesn't last forever.
I guess the key is not to quit during that uncomfortable middle part. That's where fixed mindset says stop and growth mindset says keep going, even slowly.
Yes, and sometimes keep going just means very small steps. You don't need motivation every day. You need systems, habits, and kindness toward yourself.
Kindness is hard sometimes. I can be very supportive to friends, but very strict with myself. My inner voice can sound like a very angry teacher.
Oh, I know that voice well. I try to ask myself, would I talk to this to a friend? If the answer is no, I try to change the words in my head.
That's a great trick. Words matter so much. Saying I failed feels heavy, but saying this attempt didn't work feels lighter and more neutral.
Words shape emotions, and emotions shape actions. Growth mindset often starts with small changes in how you describe situations to yourself and to others.
I like that idea. It feels practical, not just positive thinking. It's not lying to yourself, it's choosing a more useful way to think.
Exactly. Growth mindset is realistic optimism. You admit something is hard, but you also believe effort can change the outcome. Both parts are important.
That balance really helps me. If I say everything is easy, I feel fake. If I say everything is impossible, I feel stuck. The middle feels honest.
Yes, honest and empowering. So, if you think about your next bread attempt, how does that mindset change your feelings right now?
Honestly, I feel curious instead of nervous. I'm thinking, what will happen if I change this one thing? That feels like an experiment, not a test of my value.
That's such a healthy shift. And even if the bread fails again, you're still winning because you're building patience, skills, and trust in yourself.
I like that definition of winning. It's bigger than results, it's about who you become while trying, not just what you produce at the end.
Exactly. And that applies to learning English, work, relationships, and really any part of life. Growth mindset isn't a trick, it's a long term attitude.
I'm really glad we're talking about this. It feels encouraging, not preachy, like two humans admitting they don't have everything figured out yet.
Haha, definitely not figured out, and that's okay. We're all works in progress. And honestly, that's what makes life interesting and meaningful.
I really agree. And I think admitting you're a work in progress takes pressure off. When you accept that learning never really ends, you stop rushing yourself so much.
Yes, rushing is a big problem. We want fast results, especially today. But growth mindset teaches patience. And patience is a skill you train, not something you magically have.
True. Patience feels very unnatural sometimes. My brain wants rewards now, not in 6 months. But real change usually happens quietly, when you're not even watching closely.
Exactly. Like when you suddenly realize you understand more English without translating in your head. You didn't plan that moment, it just appeared because of consistent practice.
I remember that feeling. It was surprising and exciting, but also strange because I couldn't point to one single lesson that caused it. It was many small moments together.
That's such an important lesson. Growth mindset focuses on process, not one magic step. People often ask, what's the best method? But the real answer is keep showing up.
Showing up even when you feel tired or unmotivated, right? That's the hard part. Some days I sit down to practice and my energy is just gone.
Totally normal. On those days, I lower the bar. Instead of 1 hour, I do 10 minutes. Instead of deep study, I just listen or repeat simple sentences.
That makes sense. Doing something small still keeps the habit alive. Fixed mindset says if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all.
Yes, that all or nothing thinking is dangerous. Growth mindset allows imperfect action. It says something is always better than nothing, especially when building long term skills.
I notice that when I accept imperfection, I feel more relaxed. And when I'm relaxed, I actually learn faster. Stress really blocks learning for me.
Same here. Stress makes the brain defensive. Curiosity opens it. Growth mindset is closely connected to curiosity, asking questions instead of judging yourself immediately.
Speaking of questions, what do you do when you compare yourself to others? That's a big challenge for me, especially when someone seems so far ahead.
That's a great question. I remind myself that comparison is usually unfair. I don't know their full story, their time, their struggles, or their starting point.
Yeah, we compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight moment. That comparison almost always makes us feel smaller, even if we're actually doing well.
Exactly. I try to compare myself only to my past self. Even small improvements matter. Growth mindset looks for progress, not perfection or competition.
I like that idea a lot. Competing with myself feels healthier. It turns learning into a personal journey instead of a race with invisible people.
And journeys have ups and downs. Some weeks feel amazing, some feel slow. Growth mindset accepts that rhythm instead of panicking when things feel hard.
That acceptance feels very freeing. Instead of asking, why is this so hard? I can ask, what can this teach me right now?
That question changes everything. It turns problems into teachers. Even frustration becomes useful information instead of a sign to quit.
I'm realizing growth mindset is not about being positive all the time. It's about being honest, flexible, and willing to learn even when emotions are messy.
Exactly. Emotions don't disappear. You can feel disappointed and still believe you can improve. Growth mindset makes space for feelings without letting them decide your future.
That's powerful. I think many people believe confidence comes first, then action. But maybe action comes first and confidence slowly grows after that.
I completely agree. Confidence is often a result, not a requirement. You act before you feel ready, and the feeling catches up later.
Hearing this makes me feel calmer about many things, not just learning. It feels like permission to move slowly, make mistakes, and still trust myself.
And that trust is huge. When you trust that effort matters, even bad days don't feel like the end. They're just part of the bigger picture.
I really like that idea of the bigger picture. because when I'm inside a bad day, it feels very dramatic, like everything is going wrong at the same time.
Yes, bad days have that effect. They shrink your view. Growth mindset helps you zoom out and remember that one day or one mistake doesn't define the whole journey.
Exactly. I notice that when something goes wrong, my brain loves using words like always and never. Like, I always mess this up, or I'll never get better.
Oh, yes, those words are very dangerous. They sound logical, but they're usually emotional, not true. Growth mindset questions those thoughts instead of accepting them as facts.
So instead of saying I always fail, you can say this didn't work today. That feels more accurate and less heavy.
Exactly. It keeps the situation specific and temporary. Fixed mindset turns one moment into an identity. Growth mindset keeps identity flexible.
That flexibility feels like freedom. It means you are not trapped by past mistakes. You can change direction, learn new strategies, and try again in a smarter way.
Yes, and trying again doesn't mean repeating the same thing blindly. It means adjusting. Learning is really about feedback, not just effort.
That's interesting because some people think growth mindset means just try harder, but it's more about try differently, right?
Exactly right. Trying harder without reflection can lead to burnout. Growth mindset includes thinking, asking for help, and changing your approach when something isn't working.
Asking for help used to feel like weakness to me. I thought if I was good enough, I wouldn't need help. But now I see it very differently.
Same here. Asking for help is actually a skill. It shows awareness and humility. Nobody grows alone, even if it looks that way from the outside.
That's true. Even experts had teachers, mentors, or supportive people around them. We just don't always hear about that part.
Exactly. Growth mindset includes community. Learning with others makes the process later, more motivating, and honestly, more fun.
Fun is important. When learning feels only serious and stressful, it's hard to stay consistent. Enjoyment keeps you coming back.
Yes, joy is fuel. That's why it's good to choose methods you enjoy, like conversations, podcasts, or topics you actually care about.
That's one reason I like this podcast style. It feels natural, like listening to friends talk, not like studying from a heavy textbook.
I'm really happy to hear that. Learning should fit into your life, not fight against it. Growth mindset respects your energy and your reality.
That's such a kind way to think. It removes guilt. Instead of saying, I'm lazy, you can say, I'm tired, so I'll do a smaller step today.
Exactly. That kindness keeps the habit alive. Harshness often kills motivation, even if it sounds strict and productive at first.
I'm starting to see growth mindset as a relationship with yourself. If that relationship is supportive, learning becomes sustainable.
That's a beautiful way to say it. You're learning how to encourage yourself instead of constantly criticizing. That skill is useful everywhere in life.
Yes, at work, in relationships, in personal goals, the way you talk to yourself really shapes your experience.
Absolutely. And the good news is self talk can be practiced and improved just like any other skill.
That gives me hope. It means mindset is not fixed either. You can train a growth mindset slowly, one thought at a time.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example of growth mindset itself. You're not born with it, you build it through awareness and practice. I think that's the most encouraging part, knowing that mindset itself can grow. You don't wake up one day with perfect thoughts. You slowly change patterns.
Yes, and sometimes you only notice the change when you look back. In the moment, it feels like nothing is happening, but later you realize you react differently.
Exactly. For example, when something goes wrong now, do you notice your reaction is a bit calmer than before, even if the situation is still uncomfortable?
I do, actually. I still feel disappointed, but I don't panic as much. There's a small pause where I think, okay, what's the next step?
That pause is huge. It's the space where choice lives. Fixed mindset reacts automatically. Growth mindset creates a moment to choose a better response.
That makes me think about mistakes at work. Before, one mistake could ruin my whole day. Now I still care, but I try to focus on solutions faster.
That's such healthy progress. Mistakes at work are perfect training for growth mindset because they test both your skills and your emotions at the same time.
Very true. And I noticed that when I react calmly, other people react better too. It creates a more positive atmosphere instead of tension.
Yes, mindset is contagious. When you show openness and responsibility instead of defensiveness, people feel safer and more cooperative.
I never thought mindset could affect relationships so much, but it really does. If you believe people can grow, you become more patient with them too.
Exactly. Growth mindset toward others means you allow them to make mistakes and improve instead of labeling them quickly. That builds trust.
That's powerful. It makes me think about how teachers, parents, or managers talk to people. Their words can really shape confidence and motivation.
Absolutely. Saying you're smart can be nice, but saying you worked hard on this supports growth mindset much more strongly.
Because it focuses on effort, not identity, right? It tells the person that success came from actions they can repeat, not from something magical.
Exactly. And the same applies when talking to yourself. Praising effort helps you stay motivated even when results are slow.
I'm realizing how often I only praise myself for results. Maybe I should start noticing effort more, like showing up, practicing, or not giving up.
That's a great idea. You can even say it out loud sometimes. It may feel strange at first, but it trains your brain to see progress differently.
I'll try that. And honestly, conversations like this help a lot. They remind me that struggling is normal and that growth is not a straight line.
I'm really glad to hear that. That's exactly why we wanted to talk about this topic, especially for language learners who can be very hard on themselves.
Yes, learning language is full of mistakes, confusion, and funny moments. Without a growth mindset, it would be very easy to quit.
Totally. Growth mindset gives you permission to be a learner, not an expert. And learners are allowed to ask questions, repeat things, and take time.
That permission feels very freeing. It makes the process lighter and more human, not like a test you're constantly failing.
Exactly. And when learning feels human, it becomes something you can enjoy, not just something you have to survive.
I think many listeners will recognize themselves in this conversation. At least I hope they feel less alone with their struggles.
I hope so too. If someone listening right now is having a hard day, I want them to know that this moment doesn't define their ability or future.
Yes, one bad day or one mistake is just a small dot in a very long story, and stories can always change direction.
I really love that image of a long story because it reminds us that we are not a single moment. We are a collection of efforts, mistakes, lessons, and small wins.
Exactly. And when you see life like that, pressure slowly fades. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, what can I learn next?
That shift in questions is so powerful. It moves your focus from judging yourself to supporting yourself, and that changes how you feel and how you act.
I wish I had learned this earlier, but at the same time, I'm happy I'm learning it now. Growth mindset also teaches acceptance of timing.
Yes, learning happens when it happens. There's no perfect age or moment. What matters is that you're open and willing to grow from where you are.
If someone listening feels stuck right now, I would tell them to start very small. One sentence in English, one short practice, one kind thought.
That's such good advice. Small steps feel safe, and safety helps consistency. You don't need to change your whole life in one day.
And it's okay to rest too. Rest is not quitting, it's part of the process, especially when your brain feels tired or overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Growth mindset respects limits. It knows that energy comes and goes, and that progress can still happen gently.
I feel like this topic connects to so many areas of life. The way you learn English can teach you how to handle challenges everywhere else.
I completely agree. Learning a language is like training emotional skills, patience, confidence, and flexibility, all at the same time.
That's probably why it feels so hard sometimes, but also so rewarding. You're not just learning words, you're learning about yourself.
Exactly. And every time you choose to try again, speak again, or listen again, you're practicing growth mindset in a very real way.
I hope our listeners feel encouraged after this conversation, not pressured. Growth should feel supportive, not heavy.
Yes, and if you're listening and you made a mistake today, we want you to know that it's okay. Mistakes mean you're trying, not failing.
And trying is always something to be proud of. Even showing up to listen to this podcast is already a positive step.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us and being part of our learning community. We truly appreciate every listener.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please like the video and subscribe to Daily English Flow. Your support helps us keep creating content for you.
We hope you keep practicing, stay curious, and be kind to yourself on your learning journey.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care and keep flowing with your English.